Hi, welcome to a special episode of Mentors on the Mic podcast. I'm your host, Michelle Simone Miller, and I'm so thrilled to share with you this particular Roundtable panel episode. This is a new thing that I tried. We did it in a studio. I'm so thrilled to share it with you. This particular shorts film block from the Tribeca Film Festival is called Love Fictionally. And of course, it is all about love and relationships and healing. These are the filmmakers and their films for this particular category. We weren't able to cover all the filmmakers. We'll have to do a separate episode for the ones we missed. But we have Kaylee Megan Smith from General Admission, Drew Van Steenbergen from Buckets, co-directors Maggie Brown and Tyler Brown from One Night, and Ty Mulback from You Trying to Say You Love Me. So enjoy this incredible Roundtable episode. Let me know what you think on socials at Michelle Simone Miller and at Mentors on the Mic. And this specific episode is sponsored by Studio Pilates South Slope and Studio Pilates Cobble Hill. And I want to also have a special thank you to Welcome to Times Square, the billboard where you can be a star for the day. Now let's get into it. Welcome to Mentors on the Mic podcast. I'm your host, Michelle Simone Miller, and I'm so excited to be with the filmmakers, or some of the filmmakers of the Love Fictionally block for Tribeca Film Festival, the 25th anniversary of Tribeca, a very special year. These particular films premiered at Tribeca on Friday, June 25th. There are two more screenings left to these shorts. One is Saturday, June 13th at 8:30, and one is Sunday, June 14th at 2 p.m. Both are at the AMC 19th Street Theater. I'm actually moderating the talk back after the films on June 13th, so this is just like a little Q&A, so I can just get familiar. But it also means I have to make double the questions, so that'll be great. The description for this block is take a humorous, heated, and heartfelt journey through love and relationships. So pretty vague, but also fun. Gets to the point. It's hard to probably make like a sentence to describe 7 films. So great. So I want to start off by saying that we are missing the filmmakers from the films She's Non-Binary and I of an Accident of Love, and we'll hopefully be able to speak to them separately, as well as Discs. That's a recent one we couldn't make today. But hopefully we'll do a separate thing for them as well. So firstly, can we go around and just introduce ourselves and the name of our film and a little maybe just brief description, logline, whatever comes to mind of what your shorts is about? Who would like to start?
I keep being put first.
We could start with Maggie and
oh, thank God.
Yeah, let's start with you guys.
Yeah, why don't we start with you guys?
Thanks, Buckets.
I love that that's your nickname.
We've just started calling him that, and now I can't.
I know.
I can't not. It's too good.
Our whole crew and our family
I don't
all
have
calls
a
you
name
that
anymore.
too. So
So nice.
So my name is Maggie Brown, and
I'm Tyler Brown. We're brother and sister, co-writer and co-directors of One Night.
yeah, and One Night it's kind of like an homage to all of those nights where you fall a little bit in love with someone and then, wake up and things are maybe a bit different than you thought. And I think it's sort of about when you can get so carried away and maybe you're, late teens, early 20s, sort of exactly where we are right now, and you just think man, this is the person I'm going to spend the rest of my life with, and you get so excited and you build this one moment into a massive thing, and then it's up for debate whether the rug was pulled out from under you or whether you built
chose
it up
not to see it.
Chose not to see it. It's based on a true story, a couple true stories that's happened in many ways to both of us. So yeah.
Fun. Sorry.
No, it's okay. Don't feel too bad.
What do they say? Character building.
It's true.
And plot.
Yes,
And plot,
exactly.
Releasing, building.
It's true.
Exactly.
Storytelling.
Inspiring.
Storytelling, yeah.
Now they're here.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah,
It's
it's true.
it all worked
We
out.
got into Tribeca, so thank you guys so much for doing this to
Thanks
us.
for letting us be here.
Thank you for
Thank
breaking
you for
our hearts.
destroying us.
Yeah, it's great. I love getting my heart broken.
She's like, we are making jokes about
But
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's actually,
Kaylee, what about you?
My name is Kaylee Morgan Smith, and I am the director of General Admission. Also based on a true story. The writer Sarah Adina calls this the rock bottom moment of her life. And it is about a woman who walks in on her boyfriend cheating on her, and she is told that she is addicted to him and she should go to CODA, Codependence Anonymous. And the short is what happens when she walks into the meeting a little bit of oversharing and some discovery about herself and the meeting. And I'm not going to give away the ending. You have to come see it.
But I will add, it is a comedy.
Oh, yes, there's definitely a comedy.
Yeah.
Very funny.
I have an
It's
amazing
hilarious.
cast. Nina Dobrev kills it with an emotional 7-minute monologue. And around her, we have Adam Shapiro, Cedric Yarbrough, and Sarah Baker giving reaction shots that I just literally could have been in the editing room for weeks. My editor kicked me out finally. He was like, enough.
Everyone in your cast.
Yeah,
Thank you.
good.
Thank
So
you.
Yeah.
It is so funny. Like all of the descriptions of all of our shorts could be like really bad, but we're like, but it's nice. It's such like a
It's all good.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's love.
We all made art out of painful moments.
Yeah.
Is what
It's true.
happened. So
Oh, yes. I am next.
Speaking of my painful moments.
Yes, my painful moment. My name is Ty Moldback. I directed and wrote You Trying to Say You Love Me in the Love Fictionally block. This is a conversation. 2 kids at a diner like 2 a.m. during finals week. And I think it's really about this freshman student athlete who gets injured, and his whole life has been about performance, and he has no language to put to his emotions, or really doesn't even quite know how to articulate how he feels. And he sees this girl in his philosophy class, and she says something to the professor that speaks to him for the first time. And so he asks her out. Maybe it's a date, maybe it's not. And he's just trying to kind of put together kind of this destabilizing moment of change that he's going through. There were jokes in it, and I had to cut it down from 17 minutes.
I'll do it. We're going to talk about time
Some of the
constraints.
jokes kind of.
For sure.
Yeah, I'd love to see the extended cut.
Yeah.
There were
that's
some
a good
really
idea,
funny moments
actually.
that I loved.
There's no lightness in
Yeah,
it though. It's
yeah,
not like,
yeah. Yeah.
You should throw that on socials or something.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah, good.
Maybe.
Today's the day.
Do it now.
yes, today's the day.
Today's an auspicious day. All right. And how about yourself?
My name's Buckets. No. My name is Drew Van Steenbergen. I wrote, directed, edited, and starred in Buckets, which is based on personal experience as well. Drew, in the short, gets a late night dating app match, and then for the next 48 hours spirals over waiting for a text back. And so it's about my own personal cycle that I would go through on dating apps, and like the power of like just wanting to be chosen rather than connection, actually, and seeking for validation from someone else, and getting the dopamine hit of that is more important than actually finding like a relationship. So in the gamification of dating apps. Yeah.
Excellent. Great descriptions, guys. I feel like you've been in so many meetings where you probably have to share this exact description quickly but efficiently. So killed it. I want to take us back to before we started this, right? So can we talk a little bit about our experience level? You mentioned that you acted a bit. Yeah. So what's your experience directing? What's your experience in the industry before getting to this particular film, General Admission?
I began as an actress. I looked at the television when I was 3 and was like, I want to do that. And I had an amazing, supportive parents. I went to theater camp in upstate New York.
Which one?
Stage Door Manor.
That's where I went.
Oh, you went to Stage
I
Door?
did.
Oh
Yeah.
my God, I love it.
Love Stage Door.
I went to-
Isn't it like our 50th anniversary for the camp?
Yes,
This
it
an
is
aside, guys.
Saturday. Sorry,
Yeah, it's the
Saturday, and I'm missing it because of a
This.
screening. Because of a screening. I went to Stage Door for 9 years. I started
9 years.
9 years, and I had a mentor there. His name is John Stefanik, and he actually ended up being like the regional director of Lion King all over the world. And he's the one that really piqued my interest in directing. But I battled many years of my life for acting and feeling like I needed to prove that I could do that in directing. So I spent most of my 20s and early 30s. Oh my God, I'm going to age myself now.
You look fantastic. So.
But I was in a Broadway play. I lived in New York for a little bit. I understudied Alicia Silverstone in The Performers. Awesome. I started writing, directing, producing. So I created my own web series in 2008 called MarryMe.com. Yep. I was doing it kind of before everyone was doing digital series. I would walk into meetings and I would say, I made a web series. And they would say, what's that? And I was like, I have 16 episodes and I have an hour worth of footage and I shot it on a Red camera. So my experience in the industry has kind of been widespread. I've, produced, written, acted, directed. I directed a short a few years ago, and then I really wanted to focus on directing, and COVID happened, life happened, I had a baby, and have spent the past couple of years focusing on that.
That makes sense.
And then coming out of it, I said to Sarah, Dina, the writer, I have a feature film I'm directing that her and Nina Dobrev wrote together with their other friend, Lane. I said, I want to go make a short. So a comedy short. And so she sent me this script, and I was laughing and crying. And I was coming out of my own experience of betrayal and heartbreak. And I was like, this just felt like the perfect way to come back to my work, because it was a nice way to enter it through humor.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oof. Great. I mean, not great, but also great. Like there's so much there, and there's so much experience and from different roles. So
Yes.
love it. Anybody else? How about you guys? I know that we talked about where.
So, I mean, that's a tough act to follow.
I have 20 years on you.
Yeah, but that's the point. That's also the point for people who
true,
are
it's
listening.
true,
It's
it's
that
true.
it's we all have different levels of experience.
Yeah.
And we're all still here. So
Yeah, I mean, I guess I sort of had this crazy experience when I was 15 of being a producer on this documentary short called Period End of Sentence that was directed by Reka Zatopsy and shot by Sam Davis. And we originally made it in tandem with our nonprofit. And all this happened over 9 years. I'm kind of giving like a very boiled down reason for it. But through this experience, we made this documentary short that ended up doing a festival run, and sorry, I'm still learning how to talk about myself.
You're doing great.
But,
She undersells herself so much.
and it kind of went on this crazy experience where it won the Academy Award for Best Documentary Short. And so that was like at 15, and I was just like learning so much. I was in freshman in high school, and really mentored by Sam and Rika and all of the producers on the project. And through that, I realized the power of storytelling and how we could now like break the stigma around periods, which is something that I was actually talking to Blake about, because DISC is such an amazing way of just like putting you in the room and talking about periods in a way that's like, you know, it's not too on the nose, but we're breaking the stigma, because there is this conversation about like bodies and vaginas and all these things that shouldn't have stigma around. And so I was talking to him about that and saying we should do something with our nonprofit in your film. So it started through there, and then it was sort of about like working my way back through this like weird, crazy experience that happened at 15, and then, well, you know, now I have to go through high school and college and learning how to do physical production and all these skills that I didn't have, that I still feel like I'm learning.
did you direct during that period of time?
No, I really just focused on being a student and getting my heart broken as many times as possible and having something to tell.
Living your life.
Yeah, and I actually didn't study film in college. I went in thinking that I wanted to become the most interesting version of myself and actually like have something to say, because I felt like I didn't have anything to say, you know, from that moment. And now I have a lot to say, so I'm excited to say it.
And what college did you go to?
I went to Columbia University.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I've heard of it.
And I graduated 2 weeks ago. So.
Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah.
And you said you wrote this in your junior year?
Yeah, junior year, based on events that happened.
It was kind of a combination
of
of
events.
the story pretty much happened to Maggie exactly how it's portrayed in the film. Over a longer period of time, we kind of just condensed it to like one night.
Yeah.
But
it really was one night.
But it's honestly worse though, because that situation played out without finding out the character had a girlfriend for way too long, and it would have been worse to portray it longer than that. But
It's terrible.
and it's just it's terrible. But I mean,
Guys, it's fine.
It's good now. It's good now.
We're friends.
It's good now.
They're
It's good now.
friends?
Yeah.
We're not. Just kidding. Enough said. I'm not shut up. Actually,
It's fine.
But and it's just like for some reason, I guess we just have like same sibling brains. We've just got ourselves into the same positions with other people where I've had the same thing pretty much exactly, where it's like been so close to someone, it seems like we're about to start dating, and then they like subtly mention, or I find out through someone else that they have a boyfriend, and I'm like completely caught off guard, and I'm like, I don't know how this kept happening to both of us. But Yeah, no, it was great copy for a short film. And
I just have to say, like, quick, not to give an introduction. This also happened to me with like a girl that I was seeing, where it turned out that like she had a boyfriend, and I was like, why does this keep happening to me? So really, an every it just you can't escape it.
It's not gender specific.
It's not gender specific. This story just happened to me one month.
Actually, that would work. Have you pitched it?
Let's talk after.
Anyway, I'm going to stop explaining.
yeah, but
We're just starting. It's fine.
Yeah.
Drew, how are you?
Bucket. No, I went to film school in Boston. And then I moved out here for about 5 years, and I was working at a post house. And so I worked my way up to be like an editor in commercials, but then was doing shorts and like web series with friends here. And we won a few festivals. And so then I eventually moved to LA with managers, and I started working a little bit, getting into more directing and TV stuff. I was a segment director for Late Late Show with James Corden, where like you're in the pool of people they call to like do skits and stuff. But then right after that, I was on a Hulu show that got canceled. I did 3 pilots that didn't get picked up. I did and then there was another show that got canceled, like in the middle of the shoot. And so it was like I moved to LA, and there was back to back directing opportunities that none of them worked out. And one of the last ones was a pilot that I worked on with friends, and it was like, not because of us, but because of the powers of the network and the other EPs, it was a really bad experience. And so I got really discouraged, and I lost like confidence in myself. And I was also like, if this is how stuff is made, I don't know if I could do this anymore.
Were you
kind of thing.
producing those or editing or acting?
It was like directing and editing them a little bit, because that's kind of like a combo thing I was selling myself as at the time.
Yeah.
But because at that point I was younger and didn't have experience, like none of us were EPs. It was just like we had managers that were EPs. And so they had final say in a lot of stuff. And so it was just like not good experience. I was just like, this sucks.
Wow.
And it was like, so when the pilots weren't picked up, the last one we were in a meeting and Comedy Central was like, no. I was like, yeah, no shit, it's bad. Like it became bad. And so like I went back to editing because I knew I'd done it here, and I can kind of like rely on that, I guess.
Super
and
smart.
so I went back into a period of time where like I was just editing for other people and trying to like focus on stories I wanted to do. I also like graduating from, especially like this, like from my school, or at least like the circle of friends I was with, is that like you leave and think things are going to happen right away. And so those things were happening and they weren't working out.
Right.
And so I was like, well, I have to force these things all to work. And so when I kind of like gave myself time where I was just editing for other people, I was just living my life, which was just like building up stories of dating and meeting other people and other life experiences. And so now having that to kind of inspire myself for other stories. But while I was editing, I was working at Duplass Brothers, and I met my friend Rachel, who's now like my producing partner. And so we were at Duplass, and then COVID happened, and then we were kind of like thinking for years of like something to kind of work on, and kind of was going back and forth on different stuff, like stopping and starting on different things. But at the end of every conversation we had for an hour, we would always talk about dating and like dating apps and our experiences about it. And it took maybe 2 years of that before I was like, this is way more interesting than every other thing we're making up. And then simultaneously started therapy. And, and I was noticing my own cycles of everything. And so then it was like a means of like my shorts, like filmed in my own house. It's just me.
It really is just you. It's pretty incredible.
And it is like, I haven't acted anything since high school. So I was like,
that was my next question.
And I was like, this is scary enough. I should do it. Like already I was doing scary stuff. So I was like, I'm just going to do this. The actress in it is someone I actually did that to. So I called her and I was like, hey, you want to do it again? And then, so it was just like every piece of it felt a little scary enough to just do it. And so that's kind of like led it into that. And then, Did
the Duplass brothers help at all? Like, did they advise you or?
No,
very good with helping
I don't stay as much in touch with them. Actually, I don't know. It was like a weird thing of like wanting to do everything on kind of like my own.
No, I just know that they
mentor
mentor filmmakers a lot.
Oh, no, for sure. They do. Yeah. But it was like a weird chip on my shoulder. I was like, I'm just going to do this.
It worked.
And so like, I'll show them next week, I guess. But
definitely show them though. I mean, I feel like.
Yeah, maybe.
I've had Mark on the podcast.
But yeah, there is like it's been nice to like learn from those other people too.
Yeah.
I think when I was getting into those spaces, especially like when I first started at Corden and everything, it was like I was younger than the other people in the pool. So it was like I didn't communicate that much with people because there was a lot of like I need to prove myself to all these older people. And so like I thought it was cooler if I didn't ask questions or talk to anybody. So there is like this weird thing this hump I needed to get over when I was younger to now where I'm like, fuck it. Like, yeah. And it's like way more interesting to meet people to like ask questions when you're in jobs and like communicate. It's like you're on a team, but at the time I was like, I need to do this by myself. So I think I needed that time of like the failure of it and giving myself space to kind of like think about stuff to work on. Yeah.
Sweet. And how long ago did you create this?
I think we shot it maybe a year and a half ago.
Okay.
Because then once I finished post on it, a movie opportunity came up to edit a movie, and it was a similar style and theme. And so I pitched myself with the short to do it.
Wow.
And it was shot in September, and we edited it for 5 months, and it just premiered at South by. So it was like this whole thing. Yeah. And maybe that comes out soon. I don't know.
You never know. Yeah, hopefully.
I think so. Maybe,
Excellent.
I have no idea. Yeah.
We'll find out on your socials hopefully soon.
Yeah.
And Ty, how about you?
Can I ask a question
Go for it.
before I go?
Take my job, it's fine.
Do you feel that like when you took a step back and you were editing so many other people's projects, that gave you, that like liberated you in a way when you came back to your own because you were less precious with your material? Or does that feeling just, is it always there? If you made it, you're going to feel differently about your own material than like...
I guess, I mean, kind of like a cop-out answer, it's like a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Because there is like, what I really like, I still really like editing for other people too. So like, there's another movie I may do later this year because it's like, I think I'm always learning from other people. But then also what I really like about editing is that like, there's already a first draft. Like it's already been written, it's already been shot. So you're just building off of what other people are doing. And the other filmmakers that I've worked for in TV and stuff is that like, I think the best ones are the ones who notice that. And so when you get to the edit, you're like, we're just gonna make a new version. Like this is now the third version of it. And so I tried to put that into my own stuff, but also after shooting this for 2 months, I didn't look at it because I hated looking at myself.
Yeah, you said you were kind of piecing it together and the animatic.
Oh yeah, because there was like a way. So like that was like a nice safety net.
Yeah.
I think if it was just scenes of me actually like having, like your movies are all like lines of dialogue, whereas mine's like, meh. So it is like, if I think it was fuller scenes, it'd be way harder.
Right.
I would imagine it would probably be too precious.
Yeah.
And at that point, I would probably have to bring in someone else to be like, because I don't know if I would be able to see it as holistically.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't be the same movie though if it was that. It works well because of how it is.
Yeah. I mean, if it was like the reality of me having a spiral, it would be me sitting on a couch for 2 hours. So like, it's not like, it's not as
We
exciting.
want to see it live stream.
Yeah. I'll start a Twitch stream of me every time.
Invite us to Highland Park next time.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll come over.
Yeah, come watch me in my house. I know. I dox myself.
Yeah.
Come over to my house. Yeah.
In Highland Park.
Yeah, keep going. Yeah, tell everyone.
The address is.
Yeah.
Just yell buckets.
If you watch the short, you know what house it is.
Yeah. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, I guess you could piece it together. Yeah, actually. Yeah.
All right.
All right.
After a good
I kind
doxing.
of like, I don't know. So technically it's my first like narrative a short with dialogue. But I mean, I acted from when I was like really little. I got into ballet. I was doing that pre-professionally, and I had a career-ending injury my senior year of high school. So I didn't think I was going to college. That was not in my plan. I was dancing 8 hours a day. And it's similar to Gerard in my story. I kind of had a reset, and I had taken this one film class in New Orleans, which is where I went to school. And I was like, that sounds cool. So I was like on my bed. I couldn't move for 3 months. At the same time, I started kind of taking an acting class, which is my first time. And my dad teaches at Loyola in New Orleans. So I applied to LMU for film production because they have rolling admissions. So I took a gap year. I went there for like a year for film production. I was in a lot of my friends' films, acting. I got an acting manager out there. At the same time, my ex got into Juilliard for dance, and I was like, that sounds cool. So I applied, and I got waitlisted for acting. And I was like, I think
really
I want to.
good, by the way.
Yeah, it was like cool.
Realistic Juilliard.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's pretty awesome.
But
Loser.
that experience, the callback and everything, made me like realize the technique of acting, which was appealing for ballet, because everything is structured. So I went to Mason Gross at Rutgers to do my BFA in acting. So I really went to school for like a year for film, and I made like a silent short. And then once I graduated, it was just acting professionally, trying to do that grind. But at the same time, I made a nonprofit production company. I directed a few plays, learned how to like go to coffee shops and bagel shops for $100 here and there. I produced a few like short, I did something with like a short dance film with San Francisco Ballet and Aviator Nation, which was fun. But I'd never really made a story. And the more I was producing, I first AD'd a feature, and I just kept being, I really enjoy problem solving, but I just kept being on set, and I just feel most at home on set. And I was just like, I want to like do my story, but I'm not a writer. I hate writing, which is ironic because my film is just dialogue.
Literally two people in front of each other talking.
And I don't know, like during the pandemic, I had this idea. I've always had stories, but I've never like written them. And during the pandemic, it was this time where I could. And so I told this story a million times, but I saw Santi Black and When They See Us, the Yarbrough DuVernay show about the Central Park Five. I thought he was amazing. So I kind of wrote with him in mind. And then he wandered into the acting class I was taking in Los Angeles to keep me creative like 4 years later. And I called my friend who I was developing it with, and she was like, you idiot, you have to like take a scene and just do a short. Like, who cares about the feature? Just like, don't let this pass. This is whatever, planets are aligning, just do it. And so I did. And it was like, that night was the best experience in my life. It was just, so I want to keep acting for sure, but I like, it just feels like a different part of me is used, and I just like, I love it, but I hate post.
That's a fair thing. Everyone has like a different, I think, part of the production process that they don't like.
Pre-production, I love being on set, and post-production for me, God bless you. I want to work with people like you.
Yeah, maybe it's just finding the right people to work with.
It's just infinite possibilities on set. You're like, I'm making this choice, and now it's done, and here we go. And in post, I'm like, oh shit, there's like.
Well, there is something that I think can almost feel a little bit, I don't want to say like limiting, but like knowing that something's final feels like you're like ending. Like it's really sad and heartbreaking because it's like, and then it's beautiful too, but it's like, you're coming to terms with the fact that this is the final version of what you've made, and like your story is solidified, and this is what's going to be like born into the world and what they're going to see. And if you're someone that's, as we're obviously everyone is always still learning, but like we can be so critical of ourselves as in the process, and it's hard to always like. I think that's one of the areas we've grown the most throughout this project.
Trying not to snatch defeat from the jaws of
true.
victory is like the hardest
thing. When to walk away from your project is
because we probably would have destroyed it.
We would have destroyed it. Our editor was like, I think it's done.
It's a difficult thing. I mean, if you think of like artists in different capacities, like you have, let's say, a painter, right? You look at a painting. I said this yesterday, but whatever, same analogy. But you have this painting, and then you can keep working on it for your entire life. Like you could just literally keep putting paint on it. It's the same thing with film. You could keep finagling it, doing different things. And there's so many filmmakers, and I applaud you guys, I do, because there's so many filmmakers, and I'm an actor as well. I've been in many films where people just don't finish them, right? And really great work sometimes, but they're so hypercritical, and it's difficult, and I have so much empathy. But you guys all did it. So thank God you put that like stamp and that period, you sent it off, you did that for yourself. But there's different parts of the process that people kind of stop themselves on, and that could be one of them. But you mentioned casting. I kind of wanted to ask each of you about that as well. So we could start with you guys, just because you gave your wonderful casting story. So I'm not going to. But how about you guys? I mean, Rain Spencer just came off of like this really great project, and also is in Tribeca for another film that I'm actually
Good Girl Jane
doing the red.
Iconoclast.
Oh, sorry,
she's an Iconoclast.
And she was like a couple years ago.
As well.
For Good Girl
she won Best Actress for, it was like her debut feature, right?
That was her first. Yeah,
I'm seeing her on the red carpet tonight. So if you have any questions later,
we'll be there.
Oh, great! I will see you. Perfect, excellent.
But
so how did that happen?
So I mean, we just got so lucky that we just have this like amazing network of friends who help us out with anything, and our amazing friend Kai Castor,
who's also an actor,
phenomenal actor. He connected us with Jackson Kelly, who's the Rain's co-star, and he just fell in love with the script. And he originally met with Maggie, and just like they hit it off immediately. He has this like infectious energy that just like everyone loves him when you meet him, and we all hit it off, just kind of game planning. And he took it upon himself to pretty much cast the entire movie with all of the friends and connections he's made his entire life in LA acting. And so he gave us a couple options, and we watched Good Girl Jane, where like Rain is phenomenal. We need to get Rain. How are we going to get her to say yes?
And in our mind, we're like, first of all, we're like, Jackson's not going to say yes. And then when Jackson said yes, we were like, whoa, like, this is crazy. Like, he wants to be a part of our film. And Jackson did acting classes with Rain and sent her the script. And she read it and was like, I'm here. Like, let's all get together. Let's meet. And she walks in, and we were at the diner that we shot in, which is called Arts Deli. It's in LA. I don't know if you guys have ever been.
Ventura Boulevard.
On Ventura Boulevard. Amazing deli. Great sandwiches. But Tyler used to play t-ball or baseball with
Summer League
the owner's
baseball.
son. And so like
Harold.
Yeah, so we're like sometimes like we'll take our business meetings at Arts Deli because it feels like we're like legit or whatever. So like Rain walks in, and actually I met with Jackson at Arts too. Rain walks in, and instantly I see her, and I'm like, she's the one. Like, I hope that she's down. And we just started laughing. We were laughing for like 2 hours, and she just became like family. I mean, now Jackson and Rain are like family to us. And the fact that they both signed on, they both are coming off of hit shows and wanted to do this in their downtime is crazy. And we just want to keep collaborating with them because it felt like when we were on set, it just felt like we were just
It wasn't work. It wasn't work.
It was we're all coming together to make something. And they make it so easy to direct them because they do all of this prep work, and they are so intentional with their projects and their process.
They just embody the characters.
They embody the characters.
Before.
And yesterday we met Rain's acting coach, and she's phenomenal.
You can really see that chemistry between them.
Yeah.
Just the interaction, the dynamic that you guys cultivated over the course of the entire very short film, which I'll probably mention at some point, a question about timing, because I think that's so important in creating this.
And one thing about Jackson is he's the nicest guy ever, and you would never expect the ending that you'd expect. And that was really important to us. It's like, we need someone who would never actually do that in real life.
Right.
So,
we don't want to work with that kind of person on set, but we do want to have that person be able to embody that. So.
No, they're fantastic.
Yeah, they're really great too.
Thank you.
So,
didn't you say like you had done an acting class?
yeah, Rain was in our acting class for a bit. I mean,
It's a great acting class.
I know, it sounds I want to join it.
Sonic Black and
It's Berg Studios.
What's it called?
Berg Studios.
Okay.
And a lot of people come in and out. It's kind of like I equate it to like a playground where it's not like typical scene study. You can go in, you could do your exercises, work for a couple of months, and then you will be like, if I'm going to play, actually, I switched to our Monday class so that 2-3 months into the play, I'm like, I kind of need some stuff to spice it up. So I'd like work on Monday, and then I'd go to the play the rest of the week. But there's a lot of, she was in our class for a couple months when I was there. But,
so nice.
That's awesome.
That's cool. Yeah.
And then Kaylee.
Yes.
I have this image of you, your writer Sarah Dina, and Nina Dobrev, like drinking margaritas. I think we should do this film.
Aperol spritzes.
That's your process.
Aperol spritzes. No, well, so Sarah had written this script years ago.
Okay.
And when I said to her, I want to go do a comedy short, she was like, I have a scene from a pilot that makes the perfect short. And this is talk about timing.
Yeah.
Shorts are really difficult because you have to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And like part of, sorry, I'll just answer your question.
This is perfect.
So part of the thing with
so much
festivals and knowing if you want to have a festival run is really you want to be under 11 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to do. Sorry, is yours 13?
No. I'm just
You
signed
wanted
with
to Tribeca.
No, I'm with yes, we cut ours down because
Yes.
it's getting in anywhere.
Actually, he's 11. They're 13.
Okay, you guys are 13. So it was, and my last short was like,
Get out.
With the 13
It's that final,
we were told
final
under
shot.
15, so we were like freaking out about having it.
But I think
I think you're right.
No, I think what I've been hearing,
I think
it's like
you're totally
10,
right.
11 is
you want to
what was it?
Program
under
more.
11.
Under 11.
And I think
Crazy.
the script, when she sent it to me, this scene from a pilot, because it is somewhat also a proof of concept for a series, because that's where this came from. So Sarah sent it to me, and I was like, amazing. Who are we going to cast? And of course, we wanted Nina to do it, but Nina's like super busy.
Yeah.
So Nina read it, said yes, and then we're like, awesome. When are you available? And that took a while to like figure out with her team, because she actually had a movie. She was filming this movie in Australia that actually is premiering this week.
Great.
Which is really cool.
What's it called?
Okay.
I'll look it up.
It was called Bear Country, but they changed the name. So now I don't know. It's premiering in Italy at the Taormina Film Festival.
wow. That's
On
awesome.
Saturday. So she's leaving to go do that. In the meantime, we had hired Anthony Krause, our casting director, and he was amazing and sent us like these beautiful lists for Daryl and for Eddie. And I printed out all of the people that I loved headshots in like really tiny, like miniature ones. And I put Nina's picture on a bulletin board. It was like a vision board almost, but I needed to see, because the thing with general admission is it takes place in one room. Everyone is in a circle and no one moves. So once you can't start shooting, then go, oh, you know what? Actually, I don't like the way this is looking. Let's just move this person. Like, you're locked. So I had like kind of my first choice and second choice, and I had some pictures off to the side. And I literally had in the circle Nina, and I had Adam Shapiro, who ended up being in it, Cedric Yarbrough, and I had I had all these other ideas just in case, like, you know, Nina's dates, it didn't align with Adam. He's shooting something. I wanted to be prepared. So in like true spirit of all of this being like meant to be in people, this was an acting class, but I was friends with Adam Shapiro and his wife Katie Lowe's, and Sarah and I went to the Hollywood Bowl, and we ran into Adam, and we were like, this is weird. Why are we? And we looked at each other, and I was like, I'll call him tomorrow. I'll send him the script. The next day, I'm going to acupuncture. My amazing acupuncturist, she works out of the back of her house. And I'm pulling up to my appointment, and getting out of the car on this random street in the valley is Adam with his kids. Because Adam's brother-in-law lives across the street from my acupuncturist, randomly.
So who's stalking who?
Exactly. So I was like, Adam, I have to send you the script. Can you please
The
read it?
universe needs me to send this.
So that's how we got Adam. And then Sarah is friends with Cedric, so she texted him and said, we're going to go through the right channels. I know you're busy. And we put the offer in through the agent. Same with Sarah. So it truly just felt like the cast came together like magically in like such beautiful ways. And the rest of the cast, I hired 16 actors. I didn't want to just bring extras in the day of, because so much of the storytelling not only relied on Nina's beautiful performance, but the reactions. And so I didn't want to have like Cedric sitting next to some random extra who just ruin the shot.
Might not, that's
so
very true.
I
get
created like all of, Anthony sent me a bunch of actors that were willing to come in and do like the day rate for a short film, which is nothing. And I created all of these characters in my head before. So I was like, okay, I want an old lady that's like at the slots machine in, sorry, now I'm giving stuff away.
No,
Sorry.
it's fine.
And like, I was like, oh, I want that to be like an agent, you know, on a lunch break at his meeting. So I created this whole world around them, and then got truly very lucky with the cast, because a lot of them I just took from a headshot. And then they came to set and gave me like the best reactions ever. So an awesome cast.
Well, let me actually, before I get into Drew about acting, I wanted to ask a directing question that was related to that. So you have this circle of people. You had some wide shots of the circle. You have obviously, close-ups and medium shots of Nina. But how did you film the rest of it? Like, did you have her perform the whole monologue and then just film every person's individual reactions for everything? Or there's certain ones you're like, I know I'm going to be panning to him. You know?
So I did, oh my gosh, now I have to go back and think, because we did 2 days, and it was actually pretty complicated because the whole thing was 10 pages, and I kind of broke it into 3 acts. Okay. So there was like the first half up until the really big emotional part, and then the second half, and then at the end she gets up and she walks out. So those were kind of like the 3 sections. And then I had 2 cameras. Mostly when we were like doing Nina, we were on Nina, but there was a few times when there could only be, based on where the camera placement was, it was just, we could only have 1 camera on Nina, and the other camera, because they were on someone's body, was on one of the other actors.
Right.
And that's how we were getting the reaction shots.
Got it.
When so it was a little mix of both. But for like Cedric, for the main, for Cedric, for Adam, and for Sarah Baker, I had them run full on once or twice with a camera just on them with Nina running it. And Nina got to like somewhat market at that point, but just so we got it. There's actually a moment where Cedric looks at his watch and goes, and that was when he didn't know the cameras were rolling.
Are you serious?
That's so funny.
It was method. It was the end of the day. It was the end of the day on day 2, and he had given us so much time. And it was so funny because it's this little moment and we caught it.
So
We're like,
good.
oh my god, we're stealing that for it. But that was not when he didn't think the cameras were rolling.
I fully thought that was intended.
Yeah.
So
It's
good.
so funny.
That's
It's such a
crazy.
good moment. Yeah, that's the only one. The other ones were when the camera
I just
rolling.
have a quick question about Adam that Tyler and I realized.
I love Adam.
Does he have a
talked.
pretzel company?
Yeah, Shappy.
Yeah.
He's
Which is
amazing.
so crazy. So we were talking to him at the premiere night, and he was talking
Yeah,
about
he makes pretzels.
We were like,
really good.
Shappy
I did
pretzel.
not know
we were like, this
Yeah.
pretzel guy is amazing. He has the best energy ever. Like he came up to Tyler.
Yeah, so I was talking to him for like 30 minutes
like,
before the.
Well, we saw him in the film too, and like we were like, he's amazing. And then like we realized
And then your film starts. I'm like, oh wait, he's an actor, not just a pretzel guy.
No, during
He's like a bunch of
COVID, he
stuff.
started making pretzels because he's from Philly, and it like blew up, and it ended up everywhere. And he's known for bringing his pretzels to set. And on the second day, I was like, Shappy, what the f? Where are our pretzels? And he's like, I'm busy here. This is here. I can't. I don't have time to make the pretzels right now. So
Does he hand them?
not anymore. He did,
wow.
but
Yeah,
now
yeah.
he has like.
Sorry, I just
He told me the origin story, and it's like
people do it.
insane. Like the Ryan Seacrest started the forced him to make his pretzel
Didn't they
company.
bring
It's
them to
insane.
like the Globes or something
Yes.
as a snack and stuff?
Yeah,
Like,
he's
they
the
were like
he's the Oscar pretzel guy.
Yeah, the
That's
Oscar
so
pretzel
Yeah, no,
guy.
he's been all over.
Yeah,
And
it's
so
hilarious because he's
cool.
in like hundreds of shows, and we're like the pretzel guy. But,
No, I
Well, I
know.
realized I also think I recognize him from The Bear too.
yeah, yeah.
But first it was like this
Yeah.
pretzel guy is awesome. I was like, he's sick.
Pretzel guy, the bear,
Yeah,
general
yeah, yeah,
admission.
yeah, yeah.
I met him as I'm Shappy, I make pretzels, and I'm like,
Oh, sure.
awesome. That's
Yeah,
how I'm
yeah.
going into it. I'm like,
yeah.
pretzels, let's talk.
And he came up to Tyler after and like gave him this big hug, and he was like, you crushed it, man. Like you
We're
can't.
both from the valley too, so
Yeah,
we're just talking
anyway,
about it
that's
for
fine. I
a
had to ask
while.
about the pretzels.
So in the interest of time, because you're doing great. I just wanted to ask you guys, a lot of people who are listening to this particular podcast are filmmakers and actors, people who are trying to make it in the industry, maybe trying to enter the industry, trying to move up in the industry. Do you guys have any advice for either actors or filmmakers about creating your own project?
Do you want to take a bucket?
Whoa, buckets. I think for me, like a biggest thing, because like the majority of my friends I have in LA are from school, and not that you have to go to film school, but there is like just something I think first starting out is just finding a community in some ways. Last year, a high school teacher asked me to go back and talk to a high school class, which was fucking scary as hell. Because teenagers are scary. I don't know if you guys have been around them, but but a big thing that I was like, you crystallize like a piece of advice to give people is that like most things, especially like in a crew sense, can be taught. Like craft can be taught. Like you have to be like have an interest. You do have to have talent, but you do have to have like an interest, and you can work at things. And so I think when you're first starting out is like being a person people want to spend 12 hours a day with, like having like a good energy, a good vibe, being very like communicative with people, because like being on set, like if you suck, it's like a virus that like infects everybody and it brings everything down. So when you're first starting out, I think it's like being very excited, willing to do kind of like anything and having a community to be around you, because this project, but also the previous ones I've made have been with friends. And it's like, not necessarily friends that I've had forever. It could be a friend that I just met at another festival or like in another short or like on a shoot somewhere else. It's just like you're constantly meeting other people to work together on things. So I think there's that. And then I know in particular for buckets is that like, I think every piece of it was that like, it was, any piece of it was that it was a little scary. And so anytime that seemed a little bit scary, I was like, I have to do the scary thing. Like you just have to like, which is like the impetus, like what you were saying before about like people not finishing the movie, is that like there are people who also just aren't starting it either. Like you just have to start it. And there are some people that I'm sure we all know who are extremely talented that are like, nothing's happening, but like you do, especially now, you have to self-generate some things. Right. Whether or not you have to be in it yourself, like you still have to be like your own champion, especially when you're first starting out, to be like, maybe you don't love writing. I hate writing too, but it is just like, you have to like do something to get things started. And so you kind of have to be like self-generating, but also like you have to push yourself into a room or into like a certain position, whether it's writing or different things that are scary, because that's what you're going to learn the most about. I know for me, like obviously it was scary to put myself in it because I'm not an actor, but then I was also like,
I will say you're an actor.
You're an actor.
Yeah.
we don't know yet. We don't know.
I mean,
we
your
don't know
film
yet.
was in
We don't know.
Tribeca. I
Jury's
feel
out.
like you're a
We're not sure.
Tribeca actor.
We have no idea. That wasn't me. That was AI.
That was buckets.
And that was buckets. It's like the prestige buckets is at home.
I was
not
just
here.
thinking the prestige. It's the mask.
Which one you only
Yeah, exactly. But I was like, it's like scary thing. I should do it. Maybe it'll make the project better. But also I thought, because I hadn't directed in a while, that I was like, if I do this to myself, I'll also know what to ask of other people, like as acting too. Because I know I haven't been in classes or anything. I haven't been in film school in a while where like there was like an directing actors class.
Good.
But you do kind of get out of a mode where it's like you're on set, and I feel like most things I edit are like commercials and stuff that like, which are just style, like they're just like so much camera and style. And then you're in an edit and the director's like, why'd they fucking smile like that? And it's like, because I think so much things are just like how things look rather than communicating to an actor and telling them to get into a headspace or something. And you sure don't have a whole lot of time, but I think that's the skill of it, is like knowing what to tell them to get into a headspace. And so my hope was that by doing it myself, I would know what to ask of them, but I wouldn't have done any of that if I gave into the other side of the fear of it, which was like, well, I just won't do it because it's too scary.
Yeah.
And so I think you just have to like you gotta jump out of that plane, I guess, and just like do it. In worst case, nothing happens. And then you just like do it again, you know?
Yeah.
The absolute worst case is no one sees it,
Yeah.
which is like in the grand scheme of things, not that bad. So like you just kind of just keep inching forward. Yeah.
No, great advice. I mean, I also think that you have this editing mind too. So probably being on set, you can in your mind go, I know how I'd edit this. I know,
Yeah.
you know what, I need that now. And so you have that going in, which is very cool.
Yeah. I mentioned like where it's like, we did like me and my DP did an animatic where it's like all the shots were, first I drew them and then he took a photo of them on the scout and then we edited those together. So every time we shot the real shot, I would replace them with the shot.
Wow.
Like the film shot. So it was like kind of like a Pixar movie where we did all this pre-pro first because I knew we had no time. There's like 100.
I would like to see that on socials too, by the way.
The
Like
drawing of it?
sped up, like even just like sped up
truly.
drawings, like
Yeah,
almost
yeah,
like
yeah.
a flip
Just
book.
Yeah,
That'd be
'cause
very
It is
cool.
funny. Some of them are exactly, and then some did change when we got there. Like we got to the house and they're like, you can't do this. But like, but it saved so much time because there's like 196 shots and like we did it in like 2.5 days, and you can't do that with like, there's only like 1 or 2 takes of everything. So like you have to like move.
So cool.
And then you get a camera rig that takes 2 hours to rig to the outside of the car, and then it lasts 1 second in the movie.
So true.
It's like this big suction cup thing, and you're like, perfect.
Does anyone want to add one more tip before we close down? Anything that
I
comes
feel
to
like
mind?
echoing what you said, just start. Like tell someone you're doing it so that you'll follow through.
Oh yeah, like you need accountability. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're right. Yeah.
But then the other thing for me in particular is like what you're able to achieve is never going to match your taste or your own bar. When even I imagine if I got to be making really good feature films, it's never going to compare to like actually what is in my head. And so don't let that be a barrier. Let it always be a learning process. It's always just a film that you're making in the current moment 2 years ago, and now it's releasing now, and you're a different artist now. And wherever you are, the movie will never actually be match your like standard of taste, you know,
Right,
and
that
that's
makes
okay.
sense.
So
Yeah.
just don't let that,
Deter you.
deter you. Yeah, just make the thing you're making, and then you'll already have made it. Now you can keep,
Yeah, so
Yeah,
you're
it's
always evolving as an artist, as a filmmaker, and so you can't really look back and be upset with yourself in your writing or your directing or your work because
it's just a print of time.
Yeah, it's a moment.
where you are.
That's a really great way to think about it. That represented me then, and I would do it differently now if I could. But based on the information that you learned from creating that project.
100%. I would say also like don't ever limit yourself by like what you think could be a barrier. Like for us, we made our whole film for like $3,000, and like now we're at Tribeca, and it's like a little choo-choo train that could, you know. So it's sort of like, don't limit yourself by these things that, you know. There's a difference between a film that is high budget and looks high budget, and a film that looks high budget. You know, like there's no difference between films that look high budget and are high budget. So if you can trick the audience into thinking that, and then do it, and don't.
But to go off that, how we're able to do that for $3,000 is we worked on so many sets with our friends over the course of 4 or 5 years, and we accumulated all these favors, and everyone came together to help us because it was our first project. We worked on all of our friends' projects and
for years for free.
And when it was time for our project, we called on all of our friends who we helped over the years, and they came together to help us. So that's why we're able to do it for that. And that's my one piece of advice, is just work. Anyone who asks you to work on a project, work on their project, get as much experience as possible. I produced my friend's short films for the past 4 years before I felt ready to direct. And I learned so much, and I met so many people, and it was just such a great experience learning how to be on set and not being the one making the mistakes. That's the start. Seeing what other people do, seeing what you can learn from, and what you want to copy and what you don't want to do.
Yeah.
Great advice.
I just want to add to everything you guys said, but also make the thing that lights you up, because you're going to be working so hard on it. So don't go make the thing that you think people want to see and what you think is relevant now, because in a week, in 2 months, in a year, it's going to be different. And so, and that goes to like my next thing, that the biggest thing I learned on this, and that I always have to remind myself, is to listen to my own intuition and my own gut instinct, which I know is hard when you're like, have that fear and you're like, oh, I don't want to do it. And you're like, is this my intuition telling me no? Or is this just my ego getting involved? But there's so many times in the process where I knew instinctively to hire someone or not to. And then I learned that lesson. Like I had to pivot producers a month before. I had to pivot. Like you have to pivot in the process. So the most important thing is that you are in alignment with yourself and your own like creativity, and you know what it is you want. You stand by it, and you do it with integrity and kindness.
Yeah.
All right,
This
guys.
is like a graduation speech.
Exactly.
All right, on that. It does. It feels like we're a little like in a little group therapy
And
session.
good food on set.
Oh,
It doesn't cost that
You
much
can't
more.
keep buying
pretzels.
pizza.
Yeah.
People will donate food.
But for low budget, In-N-Out is the best possible place in LA you can
wish we had an
use.
In-N-Out here.
It's $11 per person for any producers out there looking for great food.
It's really good to
Smart.
know. All right, guys. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much
Thank
for
you.
doing this.
Thank
This has
you.
been wonderful. And
fun.
check out Love Fictionally Block this Saturday and Sunday.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to Mentors on the Mic. If you enjoyed the episode, please share it with a friend in entertainment you know would love it. Let me know what you've learned or what stayed with you on our Instagram at Mentors on the Mic. I love reading your messages. You can also find me at Michelle Simone Miller on Instagram. On both accounts, I'll be sharing even more information about our mentors. Talk to someone about what you learned today who would really appreciate it, and send them the episode. Also, if you love the show, please go ahead and leave us a rating and review on iTunes. It really makes a huge difference in growing this. It makes it easier for people to find our podcast, and I love reading your reviews. So thank you so much, and I'll see you next week.